Hello everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology. Today we are going to do the collective twin flame reading for the month of September. I hope that you all had a great August. Thankfully Venus is now direct. Mercury will be going direct later on in the month. So just clearing the energy and then we are going to start the reading. Okay, you guys know the drill, so let's get right into the reading. And we're going to start with the overall energy of twin flame unions. What do I need to know about this person or situation in order to understand it more clearly? So right away, what we can surmise here is that there's going to be a situation happening, and our higher self is saying we don't know the full totality of it, or we're not seeing something clearly and we need more information. So let's look at the other cards and I'm sure we'll understand that question oracle better. So for my deck, for the overall energy, we have I feel you pulling away and it triggers my fears that you'll leave me for good. Okay, so there's going to be some kind of issue. Now this may be an issue between you and your twin, or I'm feeling like it could be an issue with other people as well. Either, it doesn't necessarily even have to be romantic, but you may get triggered because there's conflict and there's some kind of separation. So as you guys know, this year, twins are really focusing on ending separation, and that's probably going to be the case next year as well. Generally, we work on things in generally 3 years is kind of seems to be the length of time it takes to clear something, give or take. But like the energy of union is getting stronger and stronger. And what I mean by that, the energy of union, is that this separation wound is really healing. And so at least the people that I'm talking to, my friends that are twins or clients that I'm working with, for the most part, they are really embodying that there's no separation. However, the last full moon, especially the full moon in Pisces, did trigger some shadow to come up. And that's what I feel is happening in September too, is that there's more shadow coming up. This is because we're going to have eclipses in October too. We're already in the eclipse energy. And I feel like we need to go through a clearing in order to prepare ourselves for what is happening in October. But expect separation to come up somehow in your life. And just know that when it does, it's because it's trying to help you clear these kind of residual issues around where you're still feeling as if you and your twin are separate from each other. It's really like a shift in consciousness is what it is, and this is what is happening in September. Our consciousness is expanding because it's really our consciousness that believes that there's any separation. It's our, our ego consciousness. And the more that we connect with our higher self, the more we realize that the separation doesn't and never will exist. Now to qualify this or to clarify, I got the card resistance. Okay, this crow is flying against the wind. So there's something being resisted. And this is clarified with trust. So I think like the more that we come into this energy of union, the more that what can be triggered is an actual resistance to it. again, from a 3D standpoint, that isn't going to make sense, because you're going to say, well, why would I be resisting something that I've been wanting? And it's because we subconsciously have fears that are creating the resistance. It's our programming, our projections, all the stuff that we talk about all the time. So that is what's coming up and what is creating the resistance. So it's like, you know, whatever the fear is, the fear that you're going to be rejected, the fear that your love isn't returned, the fear that it's not going to work out, the fear that it's never going to happen. And, you know, these cards came out together, actually. Whenever I have two cards, it's because they came out together. And they tell a story, don't they? Because the resistance is coming from ego, but our higher self is saying it's okay to trust. It's okay to trust in this journey and to believe that there is no separation. But that can be hard, especially when you're not seeing big shifts in 3D, or you see a shift in 3D and then it's like you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and then suddenly all that you can focus on is that step back, and your mind starts going into negative thought patterns. So let's say that we're needing to really trust, and our trust and faith is being tested. Trust and faith is being tested more and more and more, because we're getting to this place within our consciousness where you should be really not triggered that badly by the lack of faith. You know, yes, things come up for clearing, but then get right back on the horse and go back into the state of trust. Let's pull a song oracle. Just a reminder, I have about 300 different songs here. So lots of opportunities for different themes to come up. That's why, like, often, if you guys notice, we get the same songs over and over again. And that is not random, because there are a lot of cards here. Okay, so the theme song for this month for twins is Let's Stay Together by Al Green. Let me say that since we've been together, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running to. I'll never be untrue. Oh baby, let's stay together. Loving you, whether times are good or bad, happy or sad. Whether times are good or bad, happy or sad, let's stay together. Okay. So it seems like what is coming up is completely unexpected and maybe even catches people off guard, because as I said, we really are closing this gap on the separation wound. We are integrating more compassion for each other. There are people making lots and lots of progress in their unions. So it feels like, yeah, something completely unexpected that maybe takes both twins off guard. As I said, it can also be a third-party situation. And when I say third party, I don't necessarily mean a karmic, although if your person or you are in a karmic relationship, that's a strong possibility. But it could be family members, friends, business partners, even something that comes up within like your own connection to your higher self. So it could be feeling separation from God, feeling separation from your higher self, feeling separation from your spirit guides. When I say feeling separation, what I mean by that is feeling like you're not being supported, like you can't trust what you're being told. So remember, that's the theme. We're being tested. What's positive is I miss you. Let's both stop running away, right? Let's stay together. We miss each other. Why are we doing this? Why are we not together? Right? And what is being triggered is showing you both why you're both running away. So underneath whatever the trigger is, there is this desire to be together. This is clarified with the card Wrath. So this is like shadow energy, negative thinking, dark energy, right? It could be coming from inside of you, and in that case it would be negative thought patterns. It could be coming from outside of you, so you could be triggered into anger, for instance. You could be dealing with insecurities. It's like there's something being triggered deep within, is what I'm getting. An old wound, a sensitive spot, emotions that have been repressed. That's going to be a big one for the masculine energy. Repressed emotions just coming to the surface very rapidly. When things are subconscious, unless we have a trigger, they just continue to be subconscious and we just keep acting out. So that's why triggers can be very helpful, even though everybody hates them. What challenges us is I think you're beautiful inside and out. I see the light that radiates from your soul. And this is clarified with perspective. So I feel like what is being triggered is believing in ourselves, seeing the beauty inside of ourselves, seeing the light that radiates from us. I think that's the first thing. But also being able to see that in other people. So when you get that conflict and you get triggered into those fears, can you maintain a balanced perspective that sees the other person as being innately good as well? Can you see the good in the other person, even if they're acting out? Can you see the good in yourself? Can you love yourself? Can you love them? Remember, the question oracle is, what do I need to know about this person or situation? And they're saying that what is going to challenge you in that is your perspective. Your perspective is somehow skewed and you're not seeing the light in that person. You're not seeing the good in them because you're going into fear and you're being triggered into the idea that separation exists. And the challenge is coming back to this. There is no separation. So let's take a look at what is happening with the Divine Feminine. The question oracle is, what guidance is there for making progress in my love life at this time? So the Divine Feminine, what you're being told, or I should say what we all are, we're all Divine Feminine, we actually are making progress, even though I suspect it's not going to feel like that the entire time this month. So what is showing up? I'm trying to connect to you and give you a message. Can you hear me? So this message is actually coming from Spirit. Remember, you're being guided to trust. So part of the shift in consciousness that we're going through right now is a deepening of the connection to our higher self. So I think for a lot of you, what's going to happen is you're going to experience a trigger, but then you're going to get some kind of insight from your higher self to remind you the truth, or to remind you to change your perspective, or that you're not seeing something clearly. But it's going to be up to you how much you trust in the message that you're getting. There's going to be a lot of signs and synchronicities around these messages as well, so watch out for them. This is clarified with risk. So it's like your higher self is asking you to take a risk. And I feel like for most of you, this is going to be with your twin. But as I said, it could be with another person as well. But the risk is risking your heart. Maybe risking looking stupid. Risking being rejected. But without risk, there is no reward. This could be coming in the form of something to do with your mission as well, because mission and service are going to be very important this month. And so one of the ways that this energy can be triggered, especially for the feminine, is needing to put yourself out on a limb a little bit. And maybe what I mean by that is being more authentic, or speaking up for something that you believe in, or speaking your truth, sharing some kind of information, and maybe you get some negative feedback, or maybe it triggers fears that people are going to reject you. And yet these messages are coming in from your higher self that are going to be very difficult for you to avoid. How this is showing up. I'm accessing past life wisdom. It's helping me understand things with a new perspective. Remember, perspective is the challenge. But if we go within, we're going to understand that perspective. This is being at peace too. Being able to let go when you get this new perspective. Being mirrors for each other makes self-love so important. I wish I was there to love you, but if I'm not, I want you to love and nurture yourself. We have 1111 here. So I think part of the wisdom that's being accessed is self-love. It's that self-love is what we need, because when we know our value, we don't jump to the conclusion that we're not worthy of the connection, or that the other person is going to reject us. When you love yourself, you naturally take the perspective of, it's not me, it's them. And I'm not trying to use that as like blaming another person, but it's more like, I know that this person isn't rejecting me for me, because I know this person cares about me. So it must be something in them that's triggered. So loving yourself is going to be very important. It goes with that card as well. I think you're beautiful inside and out. What I'm getting is that trusting in yourself. Again, like you want to share things. You want to share your creativity. You want to share your knowledge. And when you believe in yourself, when you accept who you are on a soul level, you accept that you're beautiful, then you're not going to be afraid to share that. This is clarified with ghosts. So the things that are coming up are ghosts from the past. It's a past life wisdom. You know how, what do I always say, guys? You can't access the positive things about your past lives until you clear the shadows from the past life. So this ghost card is about clearing those shadows. A lot of the things that have happened in past lives have programmed us to blame ourselves and to not love ourselves. And that's part of what's triggered in September. We're dealing with this Virgo energy. And the Virgo energy is very critical of the self, very self-judgmental. And so it's coming into the place of forgiveness and self-love. How things are being transformed. This situation is being caused by both of us. Look at your own role in this situation to help us change it. So the first thing that I would say is make sure that you are looking within yourself as well. One of the dangers for the divine feminine is to project everything onto the twin and not look at what's going on inside the self first. But I do feel like with this card, what they're saying is there's a balance being reached, a balance within of the masculine and feminine. And this is clarified with Dawn. But you can see these cards okay. It's a little dark in here and the cards are a little dark. But it's a new day. A new day, new dawn. So don't get hung up on the triggers, but remember that this is actually a whole new beginning that's preparing to open up as we go between the eclipses and the end of the year. So staying positive. And I mean, you guys have been through this enough to know that the good and the bad come together. They work each other out, you know. There was a lot of higher vibrational energy coming in, activating everybody and raising everybody up. And then that high vibrational energy brings up the shadow. And then we have to deal with the triggers, and then we go into the next cycle. Okay, the song for the feminine is Don't Look Back by Boston. And it's even talks about new day, and I just said that. Don't look back, a new day is breaking. It's been too long since I felt this way, and I don't mind where I get taken. The road is calling, today is the day. I can see it took so long just to realize I'm much too strong not to compromise. Now I see what I am is holding me down. I'll turn it around. Yes, I will. I finally see the dawn arising. I see beyond the road I'm driving, far away and left behind. Yeah, new energy, new pathways opening up. And the preparation, I feel, is letting go and just enjoying the journey. And when we can step out of the separation mindset that's always triggered and clinging and overly attached to the other person, when we can step out of that, we're much more go with the flow. We're much more allowing things to unfold and more in our joy. A person from your past maybe comes back for one thing, and they might come back for healing, or something that you thought was over and all cleared up might get triggered again. Pay attention to your dreams too. I know I said signs and synchronicities, but I'm also getting that there's going to be messages coming through in dreams, especially dreams that relate to your twin flame. All right, let's take a look at the masculine energy. How can I cultivate a deeper connection to my higher self? So that is what the masculine energy is focusing on. As I said, that's going to be a big part of it for everybody because we're elevating our consciousness. And it's not something that, you know, it's just happening in September, but it's something that's going to be a focus as we go into the eclipses next month as well. So for the masculine, what is coming up is I'm triggered, an old pattern has surfaced and it hurts. So definitely, I think this trigger is going to have more to do with our masculine side. This is clarified with identity. So I feel like what is being triggered here is kind of like, who am I? Who am I really? So for those that are more like embodying the masculine energy, they're getting triggered into taking a deeper look at themselves. And it's like, how can I see the beauty? How can I see the beauty in myself? The light that radiates. It's almost like I'm noticing this juxtaposition here of the crow, which is black, of course, and the woman who's dressed all in white with this light coming behind her. And so what I'm feeling for the masculine is they're only seeing darkness in themselves, and they're not seeing the light. One thing that I'm getting that the masculine might be going through is they're thinking about, like, what do I have to offer? What do I have to offer my twin? What do I have to offer the people around me? What do I have to offer as a light worker? What gifts do I have to share? And of course, like, we're in this big change. We're all trying to embody more of our higher self. That's a change that can leave us feeling like, who am I? And there's this inner pressure that's coming from our feminine, our inner feminine is getting pressured to expose themselves more, which can trigger the inner masculine of like, am I good enough? Am I worthy? Can I say that? Can I be confident in that? So this idea of exposing oneself, getting more on mission, being more honest, speaking truth. These are the types of things that I feel are going to be triggered. You know, as we embody our higher self, part of the process is listening to our higher self. And we can be in a place where, you know, we still have enough ego that our ego is like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. And our higher self is like, oh, yes, you are going to do that. And, you know, we're coming up against that resistance. But the resistance that we feel never lasts forever, does it? We just have to work through the resistance, and then eventually we surrender and succumb to what our higher self wants. At least if we're ascending and we're not stuck, that's what we're doing. And certainly there's a lot of people that do get stuck because they have so much resistance to doing something that their higher self is asking that they shut down. That's what we don't want to do. How this is showing up for the masculine is my ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. I've created walls to protect myself. So yeah, that's what it really is like exposing one's true identity, exposing one's true feelings. Remember with this Wrath card, I said repressed emotions could just come welling up and get very triggered. And again, we're dealing with Virgo energy beginning of September until we have the equinox at the end, September 22nd. We're in Virgo. And it's that Virgo energy that judges the self. So defensiveness, ego, these are the things that are going to be triggered. This is clarified with warning. So I feel like what might be happening for the masculine is the masculine is in protection mode. Like this crow is giving a warning. He is yelling. So, especially with this Wrath card, right? It could be arguments. Our inner masculine could be feeling very touchy and ready to argue. Feeling very protective. Don't tread on me type energy. Now I'm getting in some cases, this is helping the masculine speak up, or, you know, the masculine is that self-protection mode. And so there's also like a strength that is needed to take those risks. So I kind of hesitated with doing this reading, actually, whether to continue to go in to the feminine and masculine energy. I think about that a lot, whether that's really needed anymore, but I'm hoping that you guys are picking up more and more on how the masculine and feminine energy is really one and just working together. Or, you know, more balanced. And even though there's triggers, you can see how they're supporting each other in order to move forward internally and also externally. So then, how to transform this energy. I have our inner guidance is clear, but our ego is resisting it. And we have a full moon on this card. So probably a lot of this energy is going to come up at the full moon, which I don't have the exact date for that. When I asked what is being resisted, I got there's a lesson to be learned from this. Okay, so there's some kind of lesson that's being resisted. When I asked what the lesson was, I got I'm not happy. Karma's playing a role in what's happening with me, and it's hard for me to see a way out. So, as I said, there's karmic stuff coming up. I think what I'm getting here about the masculine is they have to see that they're not happy. And they've been resisting making the changes in their life in order to get happy. So what is going to be triggered is, I think, witnessing things within themselves. Because now it's like getting to the point where, you know, who am I? Am I still this person? Do I still want the things that I used to want? Do I still want this life that I'm living? Is this what makes me happy? Am I embodying my best self? Could I do more? Could I give more? Could I, when I say do more, give more, I mean in like a light working sense. Could I be more on mission? Could I share more of who I am? All these questions are going to be begging for an answer from the masculine, and it's getting to where they can't run anymore, or I should say we can't run anymore, because the ego is really beginning to collapse. In order to clear separation, the ego needs to collapse. Of course, it's not going to, you know, fully leave us because we need it, but it's the fear, the constant projections. Those things must collapse because they are not coherent with the idea of separation. And then from the Crow Oracle, we have upheaval. So lots of change. And on this card, we have all these nests. Even one nest with eggs. So I feel like for our masculine, what has been the safe zone, what has been the comfort zone, is getting overturned. Probably not in September, but the shift will be coming in October and November with those eclipses. These eclipses are going to bring tower moments for everybody. So getting prepared for change. And the change, is because the higher self is coming in and saying, no, we're not resisting anymore. We are done resisting. We've got to change now. So the song that is coming up for the masculine's journey right now is Sentimental Lady by Bob Welch. You are here and warm, but I could look away and you'd be gone. 'Cause we live in a time when meaning falls like splinters from our lives. And that's why I've traveled far, 'cause I come so together where you are. And all of the things that I said that I wanted come rushing by in my head when I'm with you. 14 joys and a will to be merry, and all of the things that we say are very sentimental, gentle wind blowing through my life again. Sentimental lady, you are the one. So I feel like what's happening here for the masculine is they're seeing more than ever that they've been running from something that is what they really want, that actually could bring them joy and happiness. In a way, they've been resisting joy and happiness. And of course, it's been subconscious, or they've been doing it because they thought that they were doing the right thing. But there's getting to be a stronger and stronger desire, which of course comes from our higher self, to want to be with their person. So let's take a look at what's going to be coming as we head into October. How can I create a divine love connection? Okay, so that's what the message is going to be from our higher self. Creating a divine love connection. And we often think we know how to create a divine love connection, but really that is coming from above. Because humans have not been able to facilitate divine love connections in a very long time. So the first card is I'm awakening. I know more than I'm letting on. Okay, so again, this is that shift in consciousness that is happening as we head into October. Very similar to this past life card. And as we awaken, it brings us into this state of peace. There have been solar activations coming in, and there's likely to be more solar codes coming in throughout September. This is clarified with anticipation. So for me, this anticipation card is about getting together with a group. So one of the things we have to remember when we talk about separation is that we're not just separated from our twin, but we're separated from our soul family in a lot of ways. Sure, you have connections with soul family here and there, but there's also a lot of soul family that you're not vibrating with all the time. Think about the people in your life that you've had to let go of. What if we were all awake? Those people might want to come back, or you might be able to rekindle those relationships. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Also, just on the bigger picture, right? With all the polarity in the world. That polarity exists within soul groups as well. Or just, we could say, the collective energy. So we're awakening more, and we're anticipating coming together, not just with our twin, but coming together as soul family once more, coming together as a collective. We also have you're projecting your own fears and limitations onto me. Go within to understand that you're seeing yourself, not me. So also, we're being shown projections. That could be one of the tower moments that are being experienced in October with the eclipses, is that you come to this new understanding of what you were seeing had to do with what you were projecting and not truth. That's something that I haven't really touched on, but I do want to touch on as I'm being reminded. Part of the shift in consciousness that we're in, let's say over the next 6 to 8 weeks, is seeing different illusions. And a lot of the illusions have to do with our projections. So seeing that, one thing will be like being an ego. Oh, I wasn't seeing the truth. I was seeing something with my ego. Oh, I was running away from that. Oh, I was afraid of taking a risk and doing that. I was afraid to trust my higher self, and so I wasn't listening to the guidance that I was getting. This can happen in so many different ways, but as we awaken, we understand and we witness our projections more and more and more. That's really what we need, and that's really what causes separation. Because we project and then we blame the other person. This is clarified with illusion. Yeah, it's similar energy, right? Because this crow is looking in the mirror. This crow is basically arguing with himself, which kind of takes me back to this, right? With the masculine, I said our masculine sides feeling perhaps angry or defensive, wanting to argue, not realizing that, hey, I'm just arguing with myself. I'm just battling my own projections. I'm battling my own thoughts. So you don't get caught up in the illusions. Now, what can we expect as we head towards the end of the year? What is the best way to handle this person or situation? So when we get this information, okay, how we can create a better divine love connection is we can elevate our consciousness. We can live life in a state of anticipation of all the good things that are going to come. We can stop projecting. We can see through illusions, and all of this helps us with our love connection. And then we can begin to understand how better to handle persons and situations that come up that trigger us. Or when things aren't completely aligned with us. I've hurt you and I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me someday and understand I was reacting in fear. So forgiveness, right? The only way out of separation is forgiveness. Starting with forgiving yourself. When you forgive yourself, you can start forgiving the people around you. And forgiveness also takes us out of the energy of projection. But I think, what's also important here is I was reacting in fear. So not taking everything personally that comes to us, but understanding that, okay, well, there was some shadow triggered and some hidden fear came out. I'm sorry. Let's forgive and move on. This is clarified with bond. This is what's really important, this bond. And getting to this level of bonding, this divine love connection, takes a lot of patience. It's not easy work. It takes time, it takes perseverance, it takes dedication. But things are getting really, really close to major breakthroughs. When we recognize the bond, and I think what's important too here is that you trust in the bond, then you can heal and you can let go of everything. You can forgive everything. It's the fear that we can't trust that the bond is actually there that creates the difficulties. I'm listening to my higher self now. A higher power is guiding me. Well, one of the best ways to handle situations is letting your higher self handle it. And that's why this is so important. You have so much more balance when your higher self is in charge. And this is all preparation for the future. The things that we want, the things that are manifesting, we need this alignment, and we need to trust, and we need to be able to take the next step. I think one of the important shifts that's happening is this being okay with not being together and yet not going into the fear of separation. And I feel like what has really helped that, and let me know in the comments if you guys are feeling this, but it's like not getting so triggered by not being together. There's like a peace, there's a calmness, there's a sense of destiny, and it's not necessary to force or push anything or to overly attach. I think the feminine's really feeling that, and I think the reason why they're able to feel that is because the masculine has accepted, and obviously this reading is showing us that there's going to be some triggers. What I'm getting is that the masculine has accepted the connection a lot. I feel like they want to reconnect with the feminine. I feel like they want reunion. But what is triggering is this action steps that they need to take to get there, or what is going to be triggered as they take those action steps to get to reunion. And that could be triggering the feminine because of that sharing of energy. Okay, so the song about the future is The Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. All our times have come, here but now they're gone. Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. We'll be able to fly. Baby, I'm your man. Love of two is one, here but now they're gone. Came the last night of sadness, and it was clear she couldn't go on. Then the door was open and the wind appeared. The candles blew and then disappeared. The curtains flew and then he appeared, saying, "Don't be afraid. Come on, baby." And she had no fear. She ran to him. Then they started to fly. They looked backward and said goodbye. Okay, so this song is saying there's an ending happening. The ending is really about the end of fear and even the end of separation, because this last verse is about this guy who's died, but his spirit comes to his true love and they go off together. It's kind of like the merging of the 3D and the 5D. I mean, I know that's not exactly what the song is about, but that's how I'm relating the lyrics to what is happening. And at the end, they say, she had no fear, she ran to him, and they started to fly. So this is what is coming, what is there to look forward to. Reunion. But obviously there's also these fears that are getting in the way right now. So the last card is going to be a Journey of Love card. I already pulled it, and it's number 28, Sacred Convergence. There's a coming together happening within your body and soul, a unification of all that is within you. This is akin to traveling to a strange land, has all sorts of new sensations, not all welcome at first, begin to make themselves known to you. If you are experiencing discomfort within your own body, or uncertainty and a sense of expansion to include more life in your thoughts and feelings, then you are conscious of this sacred convergence. It's like two worlds or more colliding. If you are sensitive, you will feel it happening as an important event without necessarily having a physical situation to attribute the experience to or upon which to hang an explanation. You may also be encountering this in a very physical sense by finding yourself in situations which you previously would have avoided. You may be meeting people and thrown into a relationship with them, apparently more by circumstance than by your own conscious choosing. This is a meeting of you with your shadow and something to rejoice in, even if it is uncomfortable at times. Be gentle and loving with yourself and kindly seek to find the beauty in what you are learning about yourself, in your interactions and experiences. You are a wise soul seeking to know yourself rather than judge others. Remember your divine perfection as you are thrilled and challenged in this time of great growth. You are guided to be curious, as though traveling to a foreign land and remaining open to experiencing its treasures. This oracle holds a message for you. A deeper part of yourself is calling you forward. Any discontent, struggle, anxiety, or fear is a subconscious recognition of this. Don't worry. You are a unique plant in the divine garden. You don't have to know what plant you are in order to grow. You just need to live each day, and the growth happens naturally. Then you can see over time the beauty of your true nature revealing itself to you. It will be a revelation to be relished. A deeper part of yourself is calling you forward, and any discontent, struggle, anxiety, or fear is a subconscious recognition of this. Absolutely. This is the higher self calling all of us forward, awakening us, and any kind of disunity that we feel within or external to us is simply the shifting of this energy. So if you would like a personal reading with me, I will link my website below. I'm sending you all a lot of love, and I will speak to you again in a couple of weeks.